Salute and welcome to the Stories and Cocktails podcast, where you will enjoy an entertaining short story from acclaimed humor columnist Rob Kreider. Story time is the family portion of the show. Then we move on from the stories to the cocktails. This is where the alcohol and the not safe for work portion of the show takes over, as Rob and his wife /editor /muse Sarah Kreider partake in some adult beverages and provide you with a behind-the-scenes recap of what really inspired the original story. Put your feet up, relax, and enjoy yourself a round of stories and cocktails. Cheers.
This article is called Last Comic Standing by Rob Kreider. Hey, that's me. I was at a dinner party recently, hanging out with some folks who were a mixture of friends, acquaintances, and complete randoms. I was standing around, shamefully eating carbs and arguably drinking way too many IPAs. I was chilling next to my wife, who wasn't eating carbs, and therefore looked pretty hungry. Suddenly, a woman from across the room starts dragging her husband towards us and exclaims, "This is the person I was telling you about. So funny." This wasn't a shocking thing to occur. I do write this humor column for the Santa Maria Sun, and I've written an entire book, Cadet Blues, which, in my extremely unhumble opinion, is very funny. I also tell a great vasectomy story at dinner parties whenever asked. So ultimately, I categorize myself as a genuinely funny person. As the woman got closer, I was preparing for her to praise me for a witty line in one of my columns, or maybe a chapter of my book. I was even ready to sign an autograph if necessary. I keep a black Sharpie in my pocket at all times, just in case somebody is a fan, or if I want to fix the grammar on some public restroom graffiti. She was about 3 feet away, still dragging her husband in tow, when she said, "Oh, I get up every day and get on my tablet first thing in the morning just to enjoy a laugh." Wow, every day? This lady was a big fan. I only write this column twice a month. She must be on robkreider.com, going through the archive and getting a laugh every single day. Good thing I had my Sharpie at the ready. She obviously loved her some Rob Kreider humor. Then I heard her say, "She is so funny on Facebook." Wait, what? She is so funny on Facebook? My wife? The math teacher? Then the lady said, "I just love the story she writes. She's hilarious." No. I'm the hilarious one. My wife is the one who makes kids hate math. I'm the one whose actual job it is to be hilarious. My wife just tosses up little quips on the internet for free. That is not the same. I'm the one who's published in an actual newspaper and who has a book on Amazon. Me, not my wife. I'm the one who went through rejection letters, dealt with editors, met deadlines, and have been published in over 30 different magazines and newspapers. I actually had to work to be reasonably funny and legitimately published. I don't just sit on the toilet with an iPad and type lines like, "My husband is so dumb, he thinks all nuts are peanuts." And this lady went on and on about how funny my wife is. My ego was taking a big hit. This lady loves what my wife said about our kids. She loved what my wife said about shampoo. I've written columns about kids before. I've covered shampoo extensively, and it was funny. Has this lady ever read Man Overboard? Nope. This lady doesn't own a copy of Cadet Blues. She has put $0 in my bank account. Instead, she just logs onto Facebook and enjoys a daily posting about how dumb I am from my wife each day for free. This lady reads the posts every morning, laughs, and shares it with her 7 friends, and they love it too. Don't get me wrong, my wife, whom I love, is funny, but she's not an established humor columnist. After the lady went away without my autograph, I asked my wife, "What exactly are you putting on Facebook?" She told me, "Oh, just stuff about us." I said, "But I have an entire column in a book about us." "Yeah, your column is too long. Plus, people don't like to click on links. People just want to scroll through Facebook and read a few lines. I guess they like what I write." Well, there you have it, folks. If you really want a good laugh, friend Sarah Kreider on Facebook. Apparently, she is super hilarious. By the way, I asked if my wife would post this story on her Facebook feed. She is considering it, but her followers have certain expectations, and she's not sure that I'm meeting them.
Okay, folks, it's time to pop that top and let's get to those cocktails.
Hey, welcome to Stories and Cocktails podcast, drunken portion of the show. We are in a road show right now in Reno. This will be the Reno as fuck episode.
Oh, yes. Reno as fuck.
And you know what? It has been Reno as fuck so far.
It really has been.
Yeah, it's not disappointing in its namesake, right? The biggest little city in the world. I think it could be called the shittiest, biggest little city in the world. Like, I don't know. I don't mean to be so disparaging to a place. It's a fucking ashtray. You know what I mean?
Did you say the shittiest, biggest shitty in the town or something like in the world? Who knows?
Who knows what I said? I've been drinking. But yeah, it's an ashtray. We do enjoy it here. We like white trash things.
We can actually see that sign, by the way, from our room.
We can. Maybe if I read the sign, I wouldn't get the shit wrong.
But we know the sign is false advertising.
It is false advertising, yes.
The Chamber of Commerce probably should call you up and get your ideas on this.
It's a long drive to be fucking disappointed. You know what I'm saying?
It's been a long time since we were here, too.
That's for good reason. You know what I mean? When you're here and you're like, we don't need to be back for a while. And then you come back, you're like, oh yeah, Reno, that'll be fun. And then you get to Reno, you're like, oh, that's right. It's Reno. Fuck.
Yeah.
Damn.
No, usually like when we've come in the past, we've been with good company and when we end up having a really good time. So I kind of forget what Reno's like. I remember the people I was with. I remember the good experiences I have. So I'm like, yeah, let's go back to Reno.
Fucking Reno, man.
And then we get here and I'm like,
that's right.
Is this the best casino you have? Like, where's the other ones? But anyways, let's talk about why we're here.
Why are we here, Mrs. Kreider?
So we didn't just wake up and say we got Vegas to the southeast and Reno to the northeast. I choose Reno.
I'm in for Reno.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
Fuck the Las Vegas Strip. Fuck all those Cirque shows.
Right.
Yeah, who wants to see the Dead and Company at the Sphere again? I'd rather go to fucking Reno.
Yeah, no, fuck all those nice hotels and casinos. Like, let's go slum it in Reno.
Exactly. I heard they got a Milli Vanilli show here.
Do they really?
No, fuck no.
No, I thought maybe they had like new, like a cover band or like a.
Wasn't Milli Vanilli just a cover band already?
Well, yeah, that's the joke I was going for.
Oh, sorry.
I just thought they'd grab two new guys, like two new impersonators.
Super good looking guys. Like,
yeah,
come to Reno for a Milli Vanilli get together tour.
Yeah, I mean, we never actually saw the real artists. Who is Milli? Who is Vanilli? Like,
apparently, they're very ugly.
So I mean,
so ugly that we never saw their faces.
They just grabbed two new good-looking dudes and they just lip sync to the original tracks from. I always heard they were white guys too.
Really?
Yeah, the OG, like the real artists behind Milli and Vanilli. You didn't hear that they were like two white dudes?
I don't think I really delved into the conspiracy theory of Milli Vanilli because I didn't give a shit. I thought the songs
It wasn't
were great.
A conspiracy theory.
That's true.
This was back before social media, before conspiracy theories. There was just.
I had to hear this shit on MTV News. Kurt Loder told me this shit.
Yeah, and it was like real. It was like real breaking news. Oh my gosh, though.
They had to give their Grammy back.
Could you imagine something like that level of scandal happening today, where with social media, where everyone could have a fucking opinion? I can't even imagine.
Well, I think the last thing we're looking for is everyone having an opinion.
They were like, I always knew that they were fucking fake.
I knew they were fucking white, too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's not get into that. It's going to get really, really dicey if you and I talk about this little social media right now.
It was.
It's a cesspool of
I was
bullshit.
about to say, like, they don't belong in women's sports.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Milli Vanilli doesn't belong in singing.
They're not the real singers.
Exactly, motherfuckers. Epstein's Island, man. So what are you drinking there, Mrs. Kreider? This looks like a very nice drink that your husband worked very hard to get for you.
Oh, I didn't know that you worked really hard for it.
I fucking did, man. I had to go out in Reno and get it. When you go out in the street in Reno, this hotel has nothing. So I had to go across a street. I had to jump over 5 homeless dudes and 1 valet guy to get this drink for you.
You had to walk uphill both ways.
Yes, in the snow during the summer.
Through the Candy Cane Forest and the Lincoln
Exactly,
Tunnel.
and the Lincoln Tunnel.
Yeah, you got me some tropical mango vitamin water.
From 50 Cent.
Which is really good. Oh, vitamin water is 50 Cent?
Yeah, he owns that shit.
As
Made
50
a ton
Cent
of money.
or Curtis Jackson?
Well, it costs more than 50 cents to buy one.
Wait, is Curtis Jackson and 50 Cent the same person? Do you think he's doing his own music?
Did he need to give a Grammy back?
Is he lip syncing? Is there really vitamins in this water?
Was he really shot 7 times?
Is this water or is it vitamin? What?
How many calories
is
in
it
vitamin
tropical juice?
Yes.
Okay, so you got me this.
It's the nectar of the gods.
And then you got me a couple of little baby bottles of Grey Goose.
I got you the good shit, baby. Airport bottles of Grey Goose vodka, man. Only the best for you.
Yeah, so you got me 2. I poured them both in here.
Nice.
Fuck yeah. Reno as fuck.
Reno as fuck.
Vitamin water and vodka. What about you? What are you?
Well, I'm using our friends from Seattle, so Starbucks is getting me fucked up again. They didn't know they were. So I just said, hey, give me a Venti iced decaf Americano, sugar-free vanilla, splash a half and half, leave a little room. She's like, would you like some whipped cream? I'm like, no, bitch. I said sugar-free. I'm just going to pour these 2 bottles of Bailey's in here while you watch me.
So next time, I forgot about this. I do Starbucks too. I do the Seattle thing because you were like, oh, she already drank her coffee.
Right, that's why I didn't get you anything.
Iced tea.
Oh, I could have got you the tea.
Yeah.
What do you mix with it?
Vodka.
Shocking.
Vodka goes in everything. It's a very versatile alcohol.
It is a very versatile drink.
It
right?
really...
We should move it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bring it in. And it's odorless, too.
You can even put it in your coffee.
You could just walk down the street, especially that vanilla vodka that we've been drinking.
Oh,
that's
vanilla
some good
vodka.
shit.
That goes in
dude.
everything, dude.
So
I'll put that in my
good.
cereal. You always make jokes about putting alcohol in your cereal. Vanilla vodka, actually, it would probably taste pretty good in your cereal.
It would be good in
I don't know if it would make the milk curdle, but no, we don't fucking eat cereal anyways.
Yeah, who are you kidding?
Who are you kidding?
Hootie.
Hey, I heard Hootie and the Blowfish was playing here.
I heard that he's a lip syncer.
Hootie is?
Yeah,
Wow.
the Blowfish.
Is Hootie even a person?
No, his name is not Hootie. He gets really mad about that. So people call him that. They're like, Hootie, what's up? He's like, I'm not fucking Hootie. Now, in the rest of the world's defense, if any band's like, Billy Joel and the Reckless, like, you're like, oh, the guy singing is Billy Joel and the backup band is the Reckless, right?
Yeah.
So when Hootie and the Blowfish show up and there's a dude and he's singing songs and it sounds like Hootie, fucking, you're like, that must be Hootie. His name is not Hootie. They just named the band Hootie and the Blowfish and they're from South Carolina and he's not into it.
In their defense, it's not like the band members are Blowfish. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why we have such a hard time believing that the lead singer isn't named Hootie, but it's very obvious that the band members aren't Blowfish.
So you're saying that when Joan Jett was backed up by the Black Hearts, there's a bunch of bitches back there with evil hearts?
No,
It doesn't apply in any situation.
Yeah, and there wasn't a confusion about it. So I
Right.
don't know why we're so confused.
The Beatles weren't little bugs. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know why we're so confused about him not being
Pearl
Hootie.
Jam is not jizz.
That's why we shouldn't be confused about him not being Hootie.
Bush is not like a woman's vagina hair.
That's what I'm saying. We're saying the same fucking thing.
I agree. And
Oh.
Stone Temple Pilots, that original name of that band, STP, was Shirley Temple's Pussy.
Yeah, you tell me that all the time.
I know, it's a great band name.
Like you have just a couple of little factoids
Well, I was DJ in college.
that you like to share.
Well, that's one of my favorites.
I know. I think you just really like to say pussy.
I like to say Shirley Temple's Pussy.
You're like, hey, have you heard this before about Stone Temple Pilots? Shirley Temple's pussy.
Yeah.
Or, we're sitting there with our 8-year-old and our 10-year-old. We're like, hey, you guys order whatever you want. Like mom and dad are having a drink. It's a nice restaurant. See what they have for kids. And then they're like, I'll have a Shirley Temple. And then you're like, hey, have you heard about the band Stone Temple Pilots?
It's funny you bring that up. Shirley
Yeah.
Temple,
Shirley
not only was
Temple.
she a early Hollywood star as a young girl, but a band from the 90s called Stone Temple Pilots, actually originally named Shirley Temple's Pussy.
And then our server is just like,
Record label exec said no.
thank you for sharing that. So you want me to get your kids a couple of Shirley Temples, right? That's 7-Up with some grenadine and a cherry.
Yeah, it's on brand.
That's what I said, server.
Yeah, let's get it. And you learned something today. That's my tip for you. If you want to be relevant at a party, you want to say some shit that's interesting, you want to have these little factoids in your back pocket, like drop basic knowledge.
So speaking of parties, we got a couple of parties to talk about. First of all, we are going to reminisce about the party in the story when you got schooled
Oh, I was schooled.
by a stranger and told your wife is funny. And you're like, not my fucking wife. She's lame as fuck. So there's that party. Then there's the party we went to last night, the Reno as fuck party.
Let's get this Last Comic Standing thing out of the way first, then we'll get to Reno as fuck. So,
Okay.
story this week called Last Comic Standing, published in Santa Maria Sun, October 17th, 2018. This is absolutely the truth. I remember this very, very well because, full disclosure, I'm a massive egomaniac. And so I was like, yeah, of course, they're going to come talk to us because I'm so fucking funny. And let me tell you a funny story.
Your brand of vulnerability is when you admit that you're an egomaniac. Because I always say like, hey, you could be like a little less arrogant, like be a little more vulnerable, like try it. I think I showed you a TED talk on vulnerability, like how people find that endearing and how, as a leader, back when you were a leader, I'm like, if you just show a little bit of vulnerability, it goes a long
People
way.
will like you.
And you're like, I admit that I'm an egomaniac.
I told
being
them, I'm the boss.
vulnerable. Yeah.
And I'm a fucking egomaniac. It's the Rob Show.
You're like, I talked about myself. Isn't that what vulnerability is?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly. You talked about yourself. Good job. You're so vulnerable.
Well, I have a book and my column and a racing team and like a podcast.
There
There's
it
a lot
is.
of me.
There it is, that classic vulnerability.
I mean, you're lucky to even be on the show, to be honest. I can't believe I've even let you be on it. And the only reason I'm doing it is because some bitch said you were funny on Facebook. So I'm like, well, I guess I got to have you on the show. Maybe I'll get some female listeners.
You had to hear it. I mean, how many times did you have to hear it before you were, okay, maybe I'll podcast with you?
Well, the confusing part was that I wasn't friends with you on Facebook. So
Yeah.
people were like, your wife's so funny on Facebook. Your wife's so funny on Facebook. Facebook. I'm like, huh, really?
Well, I couldn't be friends with you because I was making fun of you. I didn't want you to know what I was saying about
I'm like, eh. And then my friends, you got real political. My friends are like, dude, your fucking wife, she's out of control on Facebook. I go, bro.
That's your problem.
I'm not friends with her. Yeah. If you're friends with her and she's bugging you, like, that's your fucking problem. They're like, you're not friends with her? I'm like, well, no, look how worked up you are right now. I said, I don't got time for that. I said, really, you're carrying the water for me. She wants to rage against machines and blow up social media and get in fucking Facebook fights. She's fighting with you.
No.
You know what I'm doing? I'm in my special room having some alone time. You know what I'm saying?
No, the reason that we weren't friends on Facebook, it's funny to reinvent it like that. But the reason we weren't friends on Facebook is because when you originally joined Facebook back in, like, I don't know, whenever Facebook came out, the aughts or whatever, we'd have to do our homework to find out when it came out. But early adopter of Facebook, your Facebook account, and they don't even fucking let you do this anymore.
No,
you got to be a human. But your Facebook account was Kreider Racing.
Yes.
And so we were friends, but you would post as if you were this team of people and you would talk about yourself in the third person. You were this journalist, like reporting on the exploits and the adventures of Kreider Racing. And I found it.
Like, we won another race today.
Rob Kreider is quoted as saying, thanks so much to the team for just, keeping the tires on the wheels and the wheels on the car. And I don't even know what the fuck. It was so cringy and gag because I knew it was you. Everyone knew it was you talking about yourself in the third person.
Yeah, and you know what? I had 5,000 friends.
I couldn't
on
do
Facebook
it.
when that was hard to do for the racing team, and then Facebook canceled me.
Well, you had 5,000 friends, and then you had 4,999 because I just couldn't fucking do it anymore. I'm just like, I cannot. He doesn't understand what vulnerability means.
But that was a time when the
just-
max was 5,000. That's the most you could have.
Yeah. Well, and then they came up with this thing where you could like report fake accounts.
Yeah,
I reported you.
So I kept getting like busted by Facebook. Like, you're not friends with all these people. I'm like, well, I mean, my racing team might
It was
be.
me. I kept flagging it as false.
Yeah, I was getting like canceled for like 2 weeks, and I was on like Facebook probation and shit. And then finally they just said, hey, your first name is not Kreider and your last name is not Racing, so therefore we're going to delete this account. And I was fucking pissed.
You're like, no, my middle name is Racing.
So
My
I
first
told
name
them.
is Rob.
So I told Facebook,
Racing, Kreider.
fuck you. The joke's on me. Here's why. I got an Instagram account, Kreider Racing. And then guess who bought Instagram?
Facebook.
Fucking Facebook bought Instagram. I was fucked again. And now I've had to change my name to like Rob Kreider. Well, who gives a shit?
Oh, you had to change your name to your real name.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then,
I hate when that
and then I
happens.
think currently I probably have like 77 friends on Facebook from 5,000 because nobody really wants to be friends with Rob Kreider.
So I wasn't friends with you on Facebook because I couldn't do this cringy self-reporting, talking about yourself in the third person. It was just such bullshit. And, I forgot about this. Oh my God. I'm going to start to get heated. I fucking forgot about this. I would actually try to comment. I would try to interact with you on Facebook as your wife. So I would get on there and I would be like,
Who?
good job, honey. And you would fucking delete my shit because you're just like, that's not on brand. I'm like, the brand doesn't have a wife who supports him? No, that's not. We can't have just fucking girls up in there like pretending like they're with me and shit. And I was like,
I'm racing championships. I'm selling t-shirts, dude.
so you kept deleting my comments and then you're not a supportive wife. I'm like, I was being super supportive. I gave you like a little clapping emoji. It's like, good job, honey.
You won again. I'm like, the team won again.
Yeah, and you would delete my comments. So fuck you. We're not friends on Facebook. And then you're banned from Facebook and you're on Instagram and I'm on Facebook. We're like a whole Coke and Pepsi family.
Yeah, we had separate lives, dude.
Coors Light, Bud Light. Like we're just doing totally different things. Facebook, Instagram. Then you got back on Facebook. And then it was just like, nah, fuck you. I'm not going to be your friend. And you're like, I'm not going to be your friend anyway either.
I don't want to be your fucking friend.
It was like a big fucking deal. When
It was.
Finally, and I think it was after this party. So in 2018, I'd already been on Facebook for, 10 fucking years or something like that. Again, I got to do my homework and find out when Facebook started. But you're like, oh, fuck, I guess I'll friend you on Facebook. And I was like, well, I'm not going to friend you. You're going to have to friend request me.
Well, like I said in the story, look, I mean, you're all right. You're kind of funny, I guess. Chuckle, haha, funny. But women love you. Men love you on Facebook because you're relatable and you're self-depreciating.
You kept hearing from people, your wife is so funny on Facebook. And you would say,
Did she post a link to one of my columns?
yeah, you would. First of all, you're like, oh, yeah, good
What,
job.
did you post
working
last
on
week's
it."
story?
You would look at me and you would be like, what are you saying? What are you saying on Facebook? And
What is possibly so fucking funny?
And then it started to amuse me, keeping you in the dark, right? So I don't know, I guess you'll never know unless you want to friend me on Facebook. Because again, I'm not fucking requesting you. Like, yeah.
Oh, no, we played that fucking game of chicken for
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to fucking be your friend.
Yeah, like I'm not asking you to prom. You
Yeah,
fucking
fuck
asked me to prom.
you. I'm not doing it.
So you kept hearing it and you kept wanting me to like read it to you. I think you were even asking the kids like, hey,
What did mom say this morning was so
are
funny?
you Facebook friends with mom? What's she up to over there? What's going on? Like between strangers telling me she's funny and my close friends telling me she's out of control with her politics, like what the fuck is mom's living a whole other life that I don't know about.
Totally. And then
Oh man, those were the
at
days.
some point I would just lay in bed at night and you would be laughing. I'm like, well, just read it to me. And then you would just narrate your post. I'm like, yeah, that was kind of funny. But why it bothered me was this.
You would purposely not laugh.
I would chuckle inside. It's like, that's what comics do. If you watch a comedian that's funny and there's another comic in the back, they'll go like, that was funny.
Well, part of the reason that I didn't want you to know, though, is because most of the shit that people thought was so funny was actual dialogue between the two of us, right? So it was even shit you said, and I'm just writing it down for people to read.
So it was me being funny all along.
I couldn't, when you were like, hey, what are you doing on Facebook? What does everyone think so funny? I'm like, I can't be like, well, remember when you said that super funny thing last night? Yeah, I typed it up and put it on Facebook and everyone thinks it's funny. I couldn't give you that satisfaction. You know what I mean?
What's wrong with you and what's wrong with me? What's wrong with us? I'll say this. I think we've had an incredibly balanced and healthy marriage. We've been married for almost 28 years now.
Yeah.
1 month will be 28 years.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about this Facebook thing, that sounds very unhealthy. Like this sounds like a terrible thing.
Everything we do is super unhealthy. It's so weird.
How do we make it?
I feel like we're like the healthiest married couple
Toxic
ever,
people.
but so fucking toxic.
But it bothered me because I did this thing. Like I put myself out there and I got turned down by magazines and busted my ass and wrote in fucking fax stories and mailed discs and went around the fucking store like, oh, here it is. I'm in this magazine. I was like, that was an accomplishment. And then nobody cared. I would get a check for like fucking $60. And I was like, oh, yay, look at me. And then you're like, oh, look. Like 45 people like what I said last night on Facebook about how stupid you are. I'm just like, well, all right. And then I had to hear about that all morning. Like, no, 46 people like it now. I'm like, okay. Like, your uncle liked it. I'm like, man, fuck him. He's friends with you and you're making fun of me and my uncle likes it? That's bullshit. And then...
You know what? Don't worry. Your uncle and I, we've had some dicey times through the last couple of elections.
Yeah, the elections don't help the relationship with him.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, what the fuck? And then I got this like, well... I make money with my funny. What are you fucking doing over there? Just fucking posting up shit for free.
That's what you would say.
I actually make a difference in our bank account, man.
Yeah.
You're just giving it away.
Well, and I wanted to be clear. It's not like I have like 1,000 followers or something like that. Like we're literally talking about an audience of 17. Same 17 people like my shit, right? There was a period of time, and I don't know, maybe I orchestrated this, where we interacted with those 17 people. So you felt like, Jesus Christ, everyone fucking thinks my wife is funny everywhere I go.
And those 17 people also didn't read my book or my columns.
Yeah,
so I'm like, well, these fuckers.
There's a possibility I orchestrated that.
Well done. Well played.
You're just like, what party are we going to? Why are we going to this? I'm
like losing my confidence. Should I even be a writer anymore?
Like,
what the fuck am I doing here?
2 of the people I interact with in Facebook are going to be there. I'm hoping if I play my cards right, they'll say loud enough for you to hear that I'm funny on Facebook.
This really did happen, though. This woman drug her husband over. She's like, oh my gosh, so funny. And I was like, yeah, fucking that's me. Let me tell my vasectomy story. It was a big hit at fucking cocktail parties. And she's like, no, Sarah. I'm just like, Sarah, the math teacher? That's not funny. Everybody hates their fucking math teacher. My God.
But you know what? A lot of stuff. Like I'm not nearly as popular as I was. Like I think my 17 likes are down to about 12 now because I don't have teaching stories anymore. So a lot of my shit was fucking teaching stories. Because it turns out
now you're not really relevant anymore.
If you teach middle school, like you got a lot of funny fucking shit that you can put down. Because middle schoolers are fucking weird.
Yeah, they're little demons.
So I basically just came home and I was just using Facebook as like free therapy. Like, I hate my job. You won't believe what happened today. So weird. So awkward. Fucking kids going through puberty. Oh my God. They're like little aliens. And 17 people were just like, ha, 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 ha. But I don't have that shit anymore. I'm washed up.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about that. One of the things that happened to you when you were a teacher that I'll never forget was your students would start their own Instagram pages using the name of the school and like some other term. And so they came up with the pictures of butts.
Oh my God, it was like the worst.
And then your butt was on there. They were taking pictures of your butt and posting it on Instagram.
Not just mine. Okay, thankfully.
But you do have a nice butt.
As quickly as they can start these Instagram pages, middle schoolers are so fucking weird. They would start these Instagram pages and usually they just targeted each other. Like it's just online bullying. Right?
Yeah.
And so they would have these things like Cooper. That's where I worked, Cooper. So it always started with Cooper. It was Cooper underscore and then like ship or dip, which I still don't know what that means. Or Cooper underscore,
Mrs. Kreider's ass.
You're getting ahead of it though. There were so many and it was always about each other, Cooper's underscore Uggos. Oh, and like during the pandemic, like this whole mask phishing. So then they would take pictures of each other in their masks and post it. And it was always bullying, but it wasn't bullying that we really understood because we don't really understand like a 12 or a 13-year-old psyche,
Sure.
We would just know like someone would get their feelings hurt and we'd have to shut down that page. But as soon as we could shut it down, a kid is like,
It's like whack-a-mole, dude.
oh yeah, another kid is like, can I go to the bathroom? Takes his phone to the bathroom, restarts a new page. You know what I mean? Like it was just happening
Cooper
that
butts.
fast.
Cooper asses.
So most of the time it was about kids.
Cooper badunkadunks.
And that's what this one was. It was a Cooper asses. And apparently it was just targeting Cooper staff. So thankfully we found it, like we, the adults, we found it. And there was only like 5 asses that had been posted. But yes, one of them was mine. And so my principal comes to me and she really comes to me like, oh my God, did someone die? Like this is
what happened?
This is awful. And she's just like, you got to sit down for this. Like, should I get the counselor in here for? I'm like, just spit it out. Like, what the fuck? And she's like, well, she goes, I mean, I hate to show you this, but we're trying to figure out who's behind Cooper asses. Like, who started it? Yeah. And so she's like, this is your ass. And she's like, do you recognize, like, this is your classroom. Like, do you have a seating chart? Do you recognize who was sitting here? Like, who had the angle?
This is like a CIA investigation.
A picture of your ass. And she's just like, okay. And no kids.
We're going to triangulate the photograph with
no
the fucking
kids'
witnesses.
faces were in there, but like, because it's just like the bottom half, right? So it's like my ass, and you can see like kids sitting at a table. Like, what kid wears these shoes? Like, what period do you think this was? What day do you think this was? Let's try to figure out.
What day did you wear these jeans?
Yeah, like who's this kid? And I'm just like, one of these little fuckers took a picture of my butt and put it on Instagram. And she's like, yeah, but don't worry about it. Like, Mike's butt's on there and Pedro's butt's on there. Like, you're one of 5 butts that made it onto Cooper houses. What the fuck?
But let's be perfectly honest right now. Wouldn't you have felt left out if you didn't make the cut?
No, it was a weird thing. Well, and it's also like a weird thing because phones aren't allowed, right? So my principal comes at me with like all this compassion, like,
I'm
by the way, sorry this happened
police
to
the fucking phones in your classroom.
Exactly.
Teach these kids
right?
math.
That's like the underlying message.
You're not doing your job.
She's like, this is your fucking classroom. They had their phones
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
Like, why?
Just have a picture of your ass.
Yeah,
You're like, hey, in my defense, my back was to him. I mean, obviously, you could see my ass.
No, but it's also like, hey, teaching 101. You never turn your back to any fucking kids. I'm like, well, there's 35 of them in here. You know what I mean?
One in the middle needed help.
Yes.
There's probably a setup. Someone's like, ask a question. And Mrs. Credit come around, bend over, and then picture of her ass. Boom. So when you say you don't understand how these junior high school minds work, I do. When I saw that, I started laughing. I'm like, honey, you know that there's some 13-year-old just banging it away right now, just jerking off, looking at your butt.
It wasn't like that. It wasn't like a sex thing because there was
13-year-old boys, everything is a sex thing. When they search, I want to look up Cooper asses.
Okay,
they're looking for asses.
When I know
you have an ass.
When I know the other asses that are up there, like Mike's ass and Pedro's ass, and I'm like mine, like then it makes me question everything about my own ass because I don't really see how we align. Like I don't see.
Well, this new generation, they're much more open and inclusive. There's asses, but you have a great ass. It's one of your best assets.
So what I did,
you should be proud.
So what I did is I went ahead and I used it as like a teachable moment, right? And I addressed every single class, every single student I had. I addressed every single class. I said, hey, you guys, this is what happened. And I was horrified. I did it like this, like, you guys are out of control with your meanness and your online bullying. Like, I know you do it to each other, and I never really knew how ugly it felt until you did it to me. So I'm trying to get narcissists to empathize. Because let's be clear, 13-year-olds are narcissists. So I'm trying to teach them how to empathize. And I'm just like, this is so mean. But then, because I know they're incapable of empathy, and see, this is what they tell you not to do. I can admit this now because I'm retired.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking the story now.
They tell you, like, you can't use shame. You shouldn't shame kids, right? Oh, fuck them. I shamed them. Because then I started to say, I said, you know what? We'll never know who did this. We'll never know who started this. I said, I'm sure you guys do. I'm sure you know who the mastermind is behind Cooper butts. And I'd have to put butts in quotes because I can't say asses in front of them, even though they fucking typed it down. They started the Instagram page.
They all search it.
But I'm like, we'll never really know who did this. I said, you guys do. I said, and what kind of little weirdo wants a picture of his math teacher's butt? Like, I'm like, hey, I remember when I was your guys' age and I thought my math teacher was like the grossest thing. I thought all my teachers were the grossest things ever. Like, what is wrong with you guys? Why are you guys running around this campus taking pictures of your teachers' butts? Something's wrong with you guys, right? And I watched them
probably not appropriate
squirm and sweat. And again, we're not supposed to use shame in teaching, but fuck it. Those kids, they needed to be ashamed. They really did.
Well, congratulations for making the cut. There was definitely some young boys jerking off to your ass.
No.
Well, I've jerked off to it. You have a nice ass. It's no big deal.
Holy shit. Were you following Cooper asses, you pervert?
Fuck yeah, I was. I was like, holy shit. You guys got photos of my wife's ass? Right on, dude.
I don't even have pictures of
And
my
Pedro?
wife's ass.
Oh, I'm in. So we survived the party where I found out that you're funnier than me, and it stung. Fucking stung.
No, you know what?
It hurt.
You deserve this because, again, obviously our marriage has its issues, this competitiveness and this toxicity that we're talking about. But I mean, you did choose me, and you chose me for a reason.
Well, I chose you because you got pregnant on purpose.
Okay. Well, fuck. I just
had to
you just took the wind
stuck with you.
out of my sails. Okay, so never mind then. Maybe that is why, because what I was going to say is every time I make you laugh, you're surprised. And I'm
like, holy shit, this chick who got pregnant on purpose, she's funny too.
That's what it's like. Why would you choose to stay with me all these years if I wasn't funny?
Well, because half my income goes away.
Why is it such a shock to you?
And you have 2 of my kids.
When you actually enjoy my company. When I say something that's funny, you're always like, oh, damn, she's actually kind of fun to be around.
Yeah, I enjoy your time.
Shit, you've been fucking around me.
Well, I'm making the best of the situation. You know what I mean? I'm trying my best. So when you're like saying funny stuff, I'm like, oh, well, look at you being so funny. That's cute. That's good. All right, good job. Well done.
Building this podcast, you were just like, it'll be weird if I just do it by myself. I already do so much by myself in that room anyways. I guess it'll be weird if I'm just up there talking to myself. I guess I need a little bit of color to bounce off of.
A little female perspective. So
yeah.
It can be offensive.
But you were like, but you're going to suck. No one's going to want to listen. No one's going to like you. And the thing is, I believed you. I'm like, I know.
Everyone's going to hate me on this podcast.
I can't do it. It's just that's too self-indulgent. I can't do it. Like, no one gives a shit what I have to say.
I'm like, well, let's just get you drunk first.
Oh, that's what you did. Yeah. And that's how it became. So at first it was just going to be stories, and then it became stories and cocktails because I literally have to get drunk to do this. And you have to get drunk to believe that I can and to believe that I'm funny. There's so many layers.
It's coming together though. Hey friends, I wanted to take the time to thank each and every one of you for listening to our stupid little drunk show, especially those who were kind enough to go on Venmo and throw a couple bucks our way to buy us a round of drinks at Stories and Cocktails. And if you want to help out the show, subscribe, like, and comment on whatever streaming platform you use, or all of them. Jesus, I sound like a 12-year-old YouTuber. And if you do buy us a round of cocktails, I promise we will put those drinks to good use and give you a shout out on a future episode. All right, thanks folks. Let's get back to the shit show. Now that we're talking about comedy, you did something amazing this week. You, for the first time ever, did stand-up comedy.
It's so funny that we're just talking about how you don't think I'm funny, you don't think I'm funny, you don't think I'm funny. And it turns out I'm a fucking stand-up comic, just like our daughter. Now we know where she gets it.
You did your first 3-minute set at the Chico's on a Wednesday night. You had a massive crowd out there to see you and Addie, because Addie did a 15-minute set.
I fucking bamboozled the shit out of our friends. They thought that they were just coming to see Addie. And then I was like,
I'm getting on the stage, bitch.
Psych, you guys are coming to see me and you better fucking laugh because I don't want to bomb up there. For the love of friendship, you guys are going to fucking laugh. So I kind of got I'm disillusioned about how funny I am because I loaded the audience up with our closest friends.
And I loaded those friends up with alcohol.
Yeah. Based on the audience that night,
and the laughs.
I think I'm fucking...
Yeah, you're like Kevin Hart.
I'm like the new Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the new
like
Nikki
Kevin
Glaser.
Hart with a nice ass.
No, I'm like Nikki Glaser once she went through menopause. You know what I mean? Like, I think I'm so funny, but I don't know what that would look like if I didn't have the audience loaded up with my friends and you didn't load them up with alcohol. Like,
well, I will say this as your biggest critic who can't believe that you're funnier than me on Facebook, which is total bullshit. You were hilarious. You did a great job. It was super funny.
Even that night. So Addie got there early to sign me up because Addie was actually doing comedy for real. So Addie's there for the real show. And then there's this open mic thing at the end. So Addie gets there before us and she signs me up because she's just like, you're fucking doing it. You're doing it.
And you were apprehensive.
I know. I was totally going to chicken out. Like we all knew I was going to chicken out.
Yeah, I was pretty sure you were going to.
I was 100% sure.
I was like, either you got you're going to have to get too drunk to do it, so you won't do it, or you're not drunk enough to do it, so you won't do it. Either way, you're not doing it.
No, I was not going to do it. And then you said... if you don't do it, I'll take your spot.
I told Addie, write down any Kreider.
Any
Just
Kreider.
A Kreider.
And then you kept saying, don't worry about it, I'll do it. Don't worry about it, I'll do it. And then I think you were even like, I'm going to be funnier. Anyway, everyone wants to see me.
I said, look, I haven't practiced. I have nothing written down, but I can just fill up 3 minutes just being incredibly sexist. And I don't think you wanted to do that.
No, you didn't say that. You said, I haven't practiced. I haven't written anything down. I'll still be funnier than whatever you think you're going to do up there. Like, no one likes female comics, you know?
I know 4 mechanics that are funnier than any female comic.
Exactly. So you're just like, look, don't embarrass us as a couple. Don't embarrass me. Like, you're not doing it. I'll take the spot. We both know you're going to chicken out because you're weak and you're a girl and you're not funny anyways.
Yeah. You can't be funny and have a vagina.
So you kept kind of like doing that. But you tried to do it like in the way that men do shit where you're just like, don't worry about it, sweetheart.
I'll
Because
fill your
you
shoes
call
for
me
you.
sweetheart. Like, I'm taking care of you. I love you. You suck. I'm going to be better than you. We both know it. So then I
just said it will also be cringy as fuck. If
I was so drunk. I was not prepared to do it because I was never really intending to do it. And then all of a sudden, the host,
Danny Minch.
God bless him, he's just like, and now we've got another Kreider. Are you guys ready? And he's looking at me and he's like, it's going to be you, right? And he's like, please, God, let it be you because your husband.
He's angry up here.
Yeah.
He just yells up here.
And I'm like, fuck. So yeah, I did. I got right up there. Everyone's like, oh, like, that's so cool. Like, you're so brave. I'm like, no, I'm not. He literally blackmailed me into going up there. My fear of him embarrassing me by being his wife
And all of our friends.
was greater than my fear of me embarrassing myself.
So it worked. I manipulated you.
I would rather have someone say, Sarah, you're not funny. You were one time up there trying to be a comic. Yeah, you bombed, baby. We all get it. It's on your bucket list. Good job. Put that shit behind you. You suck. That I could have dealt with.
But you didn't suck.
What I couldn't deal with was people like, Jesus Christ, is that really what's in Rob's heart and mind?
He's so dark.
He's awful.
His wife is so funny on Facebook. He's got a dark passenger.
Do you fuck that guy? Like, do you love him really? Our friends would be like,
It's just a financial arrangement.
they're like, blink twice if you...
Are you safe?
Are you okay? Like, are you
okay?
safe? Yeah.
What happens when the doors close at your
I
house?
couldn't stand the thought of that happening. So I just marched my little drunk ass up there on stage and did my 3 minutes.
And you slayed it.
I bumbled it a little bit. It was fun.
You hiccuped the last joke, but it was still funny. You did a great job.
Oh, good Lord. My daughter is way braver than I thought. So, anyone in the service industry out there? Yeah. Okay. Do you recognize me? I'm a bitchy, white, blonde lady in her late 40s who wants to talk to your manager. Okay. Listen. It's not my fault that I'm irritable. It's menopause. Have you had it? It fucking sucks, dude. It makes my boobs sweat, it makes my belly bulge, and it makes my pussy dry. I literally just said that and my son is in the audience. Okay. It's like going through puberty all over again. Do you guys remember puberty? How awful it was? It's the same. New hair growth? Got that. Mood swings? Have those. Your parents bug the fucking shit out of you? Got that too. The only difference between puberty and menopause is that at the end of puberty, I had something to look forward to. All of those hormonal changes were making my body ready to fuck someone. I couldn't wait. Like, let me grow these boobies so a boy could touch them. My vagina, I wasn't so sure like how it worked, but I was positive once I got through puberty, someone would show me. Menopause, though, there is absolutely nothing to look forward to. Like, I might still have sex, but all my best fucks totally behind me. That's when my vagina still got wet and I can still touch my toes. You know what I mean? Like, looking forward, there's nothing. Viagra is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Ladies, do you think they have that for us? No. Oh, fuck no. You know what my doctor prescribed me? Coconut oil at the Trader Joe's. Greases my tracks. Does not get me horned up. Thanks for nothing, Doc. Okay, but seriously though, there are 2 FDA-approved medications on the market right now for women and their sexual desires. The first one is Vyleesi, and you just inject it in your gut. Silly doctors. That's for Ozempic. The second one is called Adye, and you take it daily, and you hope in 10 long weeks your sex drive increases. Here's the thing. They could promise me an 18-year-old libido and a gymnast's body, and they could say, like, hey, you get to fuck Chris Hemsworth on a bed full of $100 bills. Oh, okay, shit, fuck, I fucked this part up. You can't drink when you're on Addy. So you guys already know the punchline. Fuck that, I'm not giving up fucking alcohol. Fuck that shit. Okay, last thing. I do have a husband. He's 50. He doesn't need Viagra yet. But since he turned 45, he's been thinking, like, maybe, you know? So he has treated every boner like his last one. He comes at me and he's like, hey, do you want some of this? You don't know how many of these I have left. The man has been having a going out of business sale in his pants for the last 5 years.
For Sarah Kreider, who just schooled her daughter.
I was very, very proud of you.
I want to do it again.
I stood up tall, videotaped your whole set. Is hilarious. When you go on the stage the first time as any stand-up comic, usually people bomb. Like, it's a very, very hard thing to do. And you did not bomb. You did very well.
That's because we loaded the audience with our friends.
You wrote the jokes down, you practiced them, you had it dialed in, and you delivered, which I would not have done.
Well, what works is that all of my friends are going through the same fucking hormonal shit right now, and no one talks about it. So all you have to do is you have to be the person willing to talk about it. You know, all the girls are like, woohoo, snap, snap, you know, like, yeah, go girl. And like, I didn't even have to say funny shit. I just had to acknowledge the elephant in the room, which is fucking menopause. All the girls are like, oh, thank God, I thought it was hot in here. Like, is it just me or is it fucking hot in here? It's like, no, it's just you and me and all the other women our age. Like, you know, pass the fan around. It's fucking hot. Can we get some more waters? But you don't have to be funny. You just have to acknowledge that it's existing.
Well, you're selling yourself short because you were actually really funny and you sold some funny jokes. And it was good.
You know, the open mic comes after the show. So everyone's already primed up. They'd seen 4 phenomenal comics. Yeah. It was a great show. Plus Danny, the host, he's fucking funny. So they had seen 5 phenomenal comics. It was so great. Everyone was already laughing. So I didn't really have to do anything.
You did good.
Thank you.
I was very impressed.
Thank you.
And I'm your toughest critic.
I know.
But not only do people think that you're funny on Facebook, and now they know you're funny as a comedian, I'm just backseating all this stuff.
You are my toughest critic.
Now we're finding out people think you're funny on this fucking podcast, and they're not listening for the stories or what I have to say. Oh. They want to hear your stories.
You were brutal.
I could not believe this.
When we first started this, I'm just like, hey, like, you know, what are we going to talk about? And you're like, it doesn't fucking matter. No one's going to listen to the drunken portion of the show. They're just going to tune in to hear me read the stories. Like, my stories are funny. You kept saying.
They're already proven.
Exactly. You're like, we already have a proven comedy commodity. And that's
this
my
product
story.
Has been published.
It's been vetted.
Yeah.
And, you know, for people who never got to read them originally, isn't this great? We're going to provide another media for them to have access to the great, humorous, funny Rob Kreider, right? So you were just like, they're going to listen to my stories. I'm like, hey, I don't know if we want to do like 2 stories. And you're like, oh, no. I mean, if I could do 5 stories, I would, because no one wants to hear from you. You know?
Like fucking drunk. You're just like, blah, blah, blah. Facebook.
The little tiny bit of feedback that we've gotten. And, you know, when we do this shit, you don't get a lot of feedback.
Well, I'm not sitting around in Maine while someone's listening to this thing on their fucking phone.
Right. And there's not that medium for people to like, or comment, or, you know, thank God. Because what if people really comment? I'm like, you're so lame.
Why do you have a show?
Yeah, we hate you.
Fucking die.
So the little tiny bit of feedback that we've gotten has just been like, yeah, no, I just fast forward the stories.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They're
Sarah's
slow.
so funny. Yeah, Sarah's, that's when, once the pop top comes off, fucking Sarah starts making us laugh.
No, they don't actually like single me out, but they do say the stories at the beginning are kind of a yawn, and we move on.
You know what? Director's cut, y'all. Fuck the listeners. It's my show. I'm going to fucking do it however I want.
It's true. You are the primary editor. It usually is. No, it's not usually. You always have the final cut. Even when I help you edit, you still get the final cut. Yeah, it goes out there, whatever you want.
That's right, baby. you know what I want to do now? I want to go back out into dirty Reno. Because you're empty, I'm empty. We need to refill these cups up.
Yeah.
We're going to go see Addie do real comedy tonight
Yep.
at the club. All right, let's raise a glass to Reno comedy.
Reno comedy.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And that was Last Call. You did it. You survived an episode of Stories and Cocktails. But did Rob or Sarah's liver survive the show? I don't know. Tune into the next episode to find out, to enjoy some more stories and some more cocktails. By the way, if you want to support the debauchery of the show, then buy the host their next round by Venmoing a couple of gold doubloons at Stories and Cocktails. Back in the day, a gold doubloon was only $4 Spanish. Who knew? Well, folks, I'll be right here behind the bar, cleaning the glassware and awaiting your return to the Stories and Cocktails podcast. Cheerio, friends.
If you enjoy hearing Rob Kreider's different humor columns here on the Stories and Cocktails podcast, then I promise you will love his novel, Cadet Blues. Cadet Blues is Rob's hilarious tell-all about desperately trying to survive the shock and awe boot camp-style training at the California Highway Patrol Academy. People from all different walks of life have come to love this book because Cadet Blues is simply a crazy good read. Heartfelt, inspiring, and damn funny. It's available in paperback through Amazon, eBay, or cadetblues.com, where you can get free shipping and a personalized autographed book. Or you can download a digital copy of Cadet Blues from Amazon Kindle, Barnes & Noble Nook, or Apple iBooks. Do yourself a favor and check out the novel, Cadet Blues.